Okay, I will call this meeting to order. This is a hearing for Mr. Alvin Jones as per the letter he received with inefficiency. Like I stated before, as the mayor, I expect all citizens appointed to boards, commissions, authorities to hold a higher standard for the citizens of Washington that are watching them. I would hope that they would expect the same. And Mr. Alvin, this is due to a, let's see, how I worded that correctly, so. An illegal or contract put in place with the Urban Redevelopment Authority for property on Gordon Street. Are you aware of this?
Am I aware of the contract negotiations? Yes, I'm aware of the contract negotiation. It wasn't official.
Hold on,
I'm sorry.
let him finish.
I'm just asking, was he aware of the
Well, are
contract?
you're gonna give your statement of why we're here today, or
Yeah,
like you did before?
well, I just basically, as a commissioner, he went to the Urban Redevelopment Authority with a proposal. The Urban Redevelopment Authority drew up a contract, which he said his board had authorized him signing. The Urban Redevelopment Board signed it and provided with him, and we did not get it back, so.
Mr. Mayor, one procedural
Yes, sir.
note. This was noticed at 9:30 instead of 9 o'clock. You
Yeah.
guys are okay with that?
Yeah, we do not object to starting early. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Is anything else other than what you just described?
No,
with the
just
urban
was that
redevelopment?
contract approved by the board, or was he approved by the board to come into the contractual agreement with the URA? That's the question I'm asking.
Okay, well, I'm gonna present testimony. Why don't you produce your evidence? Is that your evidence?
He entered into a contract, or said he entered into a contract with the Urban Redevelopment Authority, and the Urban Redevelopment Authority was put on hold awaiting his approval.
And do you have a copy of the contract?
I do not own me right now, no.
Can we see the contract that you're talking about?
Let me see if I can get. Ask the city administrator to bring me a copy of it.
Great. Any other reasons, Mr. Mayor, that you just articulated?
Yep, that's the reason where the hearing was called, due to
Yeah.
the contract negotiations.
Sure.
That we're not sure was legal.
All right.
Well, inefficiency. was
Inefficiency.
listed in your note.
Yeah.
And do you have any facts to support the grounds for inefficiency? What's the basis of inefficiency, please?
Again, Mr. Mayor, you provided your comments. And
Well, he just said it
I'm
was
sorry, Mr.
inefficiency.
Let me make sure I don't talk over the court reporter, but whatever arguments you want to make regarding presentation of evidence, they've been preserved, they can be brought up another time.
All right, Mr. Nelson, you just asked the mayor, and it's on the record, if another reason for removing Mr. Jones was for inefficiency. The mayor said yes, and so I'm merely asking, what are the facts that support the grounds for inefficiency?
And I will say again, Mr. Duggan, that we provided the notice pursuant to the statute. My purpose was to ensure that he has stated all the grounds that were included in the notice.
Right, and I'm just simply stating, I understand the grounds as written on this piece of paper. Are there any facts to support the ground for inefficiency? That's all I'm asking. Or does the mayor intend to present any more evidence than what he's just stated?
I think the mayor concluded his
All right.
introductory comments,
All right.
and then you're free to move forward.
All right, and are you a witness to this contract issue, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
And are you gonna, since you're a witness to this contract issue that you've raised, where the contract is not even being presented here for purposes of cross-examination, I assume you're gonna allow me to cross-examine you and put you under oath, yes?
This is not a cross-examination.
Okay.
This is not a court. This is just asking him if he had a board approval and if he did it in accordance with his bylaws and statutes.
Yeah, this is the whole idea of due process and fairness, where you've got the mayor who is a party to the proceedings. He is a witness. He is involved in it personally. And he will not go under oath to be questioned about the allegations that he himself says he was privy to and is a witness to. So I want to make that an objection to the record and demonstrate to the court how unfair this mayor is being, that he will not allow himself to be questioned under oath, where he says he's admitted he was a witness and he won't even produce, or at least he hasn't yet, the contract. Having said that, Mr. Jones, raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
All right. And if you would identify yourself for the record,
My name is Alvin Jones.
and what is your position here with the City of Washington Housing Authority?
I am the chairman of the Washington-Wilkes Housing Authority Board.
And how many years have you been on the Board of Commissioners at the Washington Housing Authority?
Since 2022,
And who is the mayor that originally appointed you?
Mr. Bill DeGolian.
All right. Now, let me hand you what I'm going to mark as Defendant's Exhibit 1 to this hearing. Do you recognize that document?
I do.
And what is that?
It is my letter from the mayor stating that pursuant of the statute, that this correspondence is intended to provide you with the notice of hearing set for March the 8th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. at the Washington City Hall to consider your removal as commissioner from the Washington Housing Authority. The grounds for your removal are as follows: inefficiency, neglect of duty, failure to ensure compliance with board responsibilities and duties.
Okay. And do you know what he means by inefficiency?
I do not.
Do you know what the mayor means by neglect of duty?
I do not.
Has the mayor ever explained that to you?
He has not.
Prior to your receiving Defendant's Exhibit 1, that is this letter of February 23rd of 2024, authored by the mayor, had the mayor ever called you and complained to you about anything in your role and your responsibilities as a member of the Board of Commissioners of the Washington Housing Authority?
He has not.
Has he ever sent you any written communication complaining about anything in terms of your duties and responsibilities?
He has not.
Did he ever give you an opportunity to explain anything about this URA that he's now sprung on you today for the first time?
He did not.
I'm going to tender Defendant's Exhibit 1. Let me mark what I'm, Defendant's Exhibit 2. And Defendant's Exhibit 3. All right, let me hand you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 2,
Okay.
which appears to be an email, Mr. Jones, dated February 27th of 2024 from you to Mr. Bailey.
Okay.
Do you recognize that email?
I do.
And did you send that to the mayor?
I did.
And what was the purpose of your sending this to the mayor?
It was to ask for an extension to be able to gather the information for the hearing. It says, and I read it, per the receipt of the letter from you pertaining to me being removed from the Washington-Wilkes Housing Authority Board for inefficiency and neglect of duty, I am requesting more time to respond to these allegations. As of today, February 27th, 2024, I hand-delivered a Freedom of Information request to the Washington-Wilkes City Clerk. And it says, I have been a loyal community servant and have never neglected any of my duties as member of the WCCP for 6 years, for those years in which I served as the Georgia Family Connection State Board, the Executive Director of the Washington-Wilkes Parks and Recreation for 3 years, where I spearheaded the Boys and Girls Club of the CSRA coming to Wilkes County. Volunteerism is a calling, not something that I or any of the present Washington Housing Authority board members take lightly.
All right.
Regards.
And did you get any response from the mayor to this email?
I did not.
Did he grant you a continuance?
He did not.
Did he ever provide any explanation as to what he meant by inefficiency or neglect of duty prior to today?
He did not.
Did you think that was unfair?
I do.
And did you, also, let me hand you what I marked as Defendant's Exhibit 3, which is a 2-page document dated February 27th, 2004. What is that document, please?
It's open records request, City of Washington, Georgia. Said, Dear Mayor Bailey and Miss Bazemore, I have the mayor's letter dated February 23rd, 2004. I'm writing you both as the records custodian for the City of Washington pursuant to the provisions of the Georgia Open Records Act. Under Georgia law, a failure or refusal to provide access to public records or intentionally.
Hold on, I don't want you to read the letter. I
Yeah.
just want you to identify. Is this your open records request that you sent to the mayor?
Yes,
Dated February 27th,
yes,
2024?
yes.
And up at the right-hand corner, there's some handwriting. What is that?
It was received at 3:27 on February the 2nd, February the 27th, 2024 by Miss Bazemore.
And who is Miss,
It's the city clerk.
is that Bozeman or
Brasmore, right?
Okay. And is that her handwriting?
It is.
Did you watch her write that?
I did.
Okay. And you asked for all documents evidencing anything that supported these allegations against you of inefficiency and/or for neglect of duty, didn't you?
I did.
And you asked it in 3 different ways in an effort to try to elicit from the mayor any facts or evidence supporting his charges against you, correct?
Yes.
And did you have any idea until today what the actual charges were?
I did not.
You had no idea that you were going to get blindsided by this alleged contract
I did not.
with the urban development authority that the mayor characterized as being an illegal contract?
I did not.
Okay. I'm going to tender Defendant's Exhibit 3 as well as 1 and 2. Let me hand you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 4. And do you recognize this letter marked as Defendant's Exhibit 4?
I do.
And is this a letter from the mayor, or from the city of Washington, rather?
It is.
And is this a letter that is in response to your open records request?
It is.
And it is written on city letterhead, is it not?
It is.
And it is authored and signed by the city clerk, Miss Debbie Brasmore.
Correct.
All right. And she specifically states there are no records responsive to any of your open records requests, doesn't she?
She does.
And indeed, the contract that the mayor says he's going to get to us before the day's over, they didn't even produce that before today, did they?
They have not.
And yet the mayor is here making that contract the subject of these proceedings, but he didn't respond to your open records request to produce that in a timely manner, did he?
Yes.
Do you
Correct.
feel like he did that intentionally and that that's also a crime?
I am. Yeah, I think it's unfair.
I mean,
Absolutely.
are you aware that under the Open Records Act, a willful failure to produce records or documents in responsive is a misdemeanor and is a crime in the state of Georgia?
It is. I am. I am aware of that.
And do you know why the mayor didn't produce that contract that is the subject of this hearing today?
I do not know.
Do you think he was just trying to blindside you like he's done today?
I do.
I do too. I'm going to tender Defendant's Exhibit 4. Now, let me hand you what I've marked as Defendant's Exhibit 5. Which appears to be a text exchange between you and the mayor, Bruce Bailey. Let me hand you Defendant's Exhibit 5 and see if you can identify that.
I can.
And what is the date of that text exchange, sir?
Looks like February 28th.
Of 2024?
No, yes, that's what it looks like.
Do you want to check your cell phone to make sure?
I do. Make sure. Yes, 2/28/24.
All right. And so the mayor, tell me if I'm reading this correctly, Mr. Jones. The mayor writes you on, did you say February the 28th
Yes,
at 8:29 p.m.?
yes,
He writes you, I got your text via email. Think it was from you. I am not the one pushing this, as District 1 council members asked for you to be removed. Did I read that correctly?
you have.
And the mayor goes on to say, I advised them there would need to be a hearing. I am glad you requested information, as I could not find anything that I would agree to. Have I read that correctly?
You have.
Hang in there. We will get through this. They have to present information on performance and lack thereof. Is that what the mayor writes?
Yes,
And what did you write? Did you write back, we are supposed to do great things together for our community. You are the mayor. You have to let us do the job. Is that what you wrote?
I did.
The mayor write back again?
You did not.
So the mayor clearly would have known, he's acknowledging he got your open records request,
Yes,
and yet he didn't produce the very contract, the Urban Development Authority contract that he's seeking to remove you on. He didn't disclose that to you in this text.
you did
In
not.
fact, he's acknowledging he didn't find any documents to produce to you, did he?
That's true.
And he didn't produce anything before today, did he?
He did not.
And he never called and complained to you the first time about anything pertaining to your performance as a board member.
He has not.
Wow. Wow. You are aware that HUD comes and audits your housing authority? Yes?
I am.
You're aware that the Office of Inspector General has a responsibility to come investigate you all and secure records in the event they think there's any mismanagement, fraud, waste, or abuse, correct?
I am.
Has a HUD OIG ever breached your door?
They have not.
Have they ever come to the Housing Authority seeking any records of any kind?
They have not.
Are you aware that the mayor has been circulating rumors in this community that two board members are going to be arrested for misappropriation and for theft at the Housing Authority?
I'm unaware of that.
You're not aware of that fact?
I'm not aware of that fact.
Ms.
As a
Booker, you
fact.
aware of that fact? Okay. Mayor, have you been doing that?
I have not.
Did you have a conversation with the executive director yesterday, telling her that you heard rumors that the OIG or the federal government was investigating this housing authority?
I called her and asked her if she had heard any rumors.
That's
Okay,
not what she
brought to
told
me.
me. She told me you were accusing that you had heard that was happening. So you have no facts to support that, do you, sir?
No, I called to verify.
Has the Office of HUD, who is responsible for oversight of your board and your operations, made any criticisms of the Board of Commissioners of the Washington Housing Authority?
They have not.
Have they sent any letters requiring y'all to undergo any sort of additional training because you all were not performing your duties or responsibilities?
They have not.
Has any board member or any city commission member or city council member of the city of Washington ever made any criticism of you or accused you of not performing your duties?
They have not.
Now, let's talk about this urban and development contract, which is not before us today.
Okay.
You are aware, and do you agree that the Board of Commissioners of the Washington Housing Authority can take no action whatsoever under Georgia law except by convening a meeting and voting to do so?
Correct.
All right. And with respect to this urban development contract that the mayor is saying he is privy to but won't testify to, when the mayor was involved in that, was he the mayor at that time?
He was not.
And what was his position? What was Mr. Bruce Bailey's position when these discussions went on about this Urban and Redevelopment Authority contract?
He was the vice chairman of the Urban Redevelopment Authority.
He was not the mayor.
He was not the mayor.
All right. And did Mr. Brace Bailey want that contract to be consummated?
Yes, he did.
All right. And did you have discussions with him about that?
Yes, we did.
Preliminary discussions?
Yes,
You never told Mr. Bailey prior to his being mayor that you had the authority to bind the housing authority to any contract, correct?
correct.
Did you understand that before the housing authority could be bound to any contract, you had to take it back to the board and the board would approve that?
Correct.
And did the board ever approve the contract?
We approved that we had a call meeting to enter into negotiations with the Urban Redevelopment Authority.
All right, so the board simply authorized negotiations about this contract,
Correct.
and that was it.
Correct.
The Board of Commissioners of the Washington Housing Authority never went further, did it, to actually authorize the execution and the adoption or consummation of this contract to which the mayor is now complaining. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And is that why the Housing Authority did not execute or enter into this contract?
Correct.
Because the board did not authorize it?
Correct.
And therefore, you, as a single member of the board, you did not have contracting authority to sign or enter into this urban development contract about which the mayor complains. Is that right?
Correct.
And irrespective of whether the housing authority entered into this contract that the mayor is now complaining about, that contract and the failure to the board to adopt it, did that in any way jeopardize or impair the housing authority's operations or ability to be physically sound?
They did not.
Is your housing authority in great financial shape?
We are.
Collectively, with all monies accounted for, including monies and CDs, do you all have about $2 million in the banks?
We do.
And do you believe that's because this board, including you, were responsible in fiscally managing the housing authority and to ensuring those monies were received from HUD and maintained responsibly?
That is correct.
Did you ever promise or commit to Mr. Bruce Bailey before he was mayor that you were guaranteeing or promising to enter into some contract?
I did not.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Do
Anything else?
Is there, that's all we have.
Okay, I'll give him that contract today.
If you take any more hearing, or if you want to move forward, you're fine.
Like I said, this was just a preliminary hearing to evaluate the facts and let Mr. Jones and Ms. Booker both present material that they needed. So at this
Mr.
point in
Mayor,
time.
Mr. Mayor, I did want to say something because we're here. I would tell you that the removal of Ms. Booker and myself, when we first got on this Housing Authority board, we had no certified commissioners. And the board did not understand the needs or what was going on in the Housing Authority with the previous director. That's one fact. Secondly is, and since it was chartered in 1951, we had never had a resident services coordinator. Ms. Zena Zaran, who now is the executive director, was our first resident service coordinator. Because you previously asked Ms. Booker, was she aware of the training or the community service? I would tell you that since 1951, no one had ever even hired someone to do the job to take care of the residents. We, on this board, was the first one to hire anyone to do that. And consequently, because we were trained and we are certified board members now, and we've gone to training, we increased our training budget so that we could know better what was going on. And when Mr. Bill DeGolian asked me to sit on the board, he said, there is something going on over there. I would like for you to sit on this board and go find out what is going on. And so now, since we've done that and spent almost 3 years going to conferences, always reading, learning how to operate. And I would say this to any administrator in this room, there are 9 different areas of expertise that a housing authority director must learn. She's been on the job 7 months. We spend so much time together learning, reading, just trying to get us to move forward. And so I would tell you that I am disappointed. I am extremely disappointed that we are sitting here, you knowing what you know, and everybody that's in this room knowing what they know, and know this is a huge undertaking that we have embarked upon. And the fact that if you remove two of us, Ms. Booker and myself, if you removed us, you set us back another year or two to be able to operate, to be able to assist the executive director to operate. How can that how can that even be justified? How can you justify us spending almost $40,000 to $50,000 between Ms. Burns, Ms. Booker, and myself being certified? How does that even make sense to devastate an organization that's just getting its feet under them? To just not figuring out where we are. We here. We were here when I got here, and we all moving together. And I would say when we go to training, and nobody knows this, but when we go to training, we separate at the trainings. We have people going to, I go to a certain area, Miss Booker goes to a certain area, Miss Burns goes to a certain area, because that was the fastest way and the most efficient way, because that inefficiency thing has bothered me because I know we've done extremely well on spending and using our resources to move this housing authority forward. And so now we are threatened by the fact that we can get removed, and the citizens of Wilkes County, the citizens of Washington, they'll feel that effect. And then I'd like to add one more thing. That at no point since you've been the mayor, and this is your first time as a city council, have we ever sat down in the room and decided what we want to do with Wilkes County and Washington, Georgia. We haven't had that meeting yet. I've been on the board now 3 years. We still haven't had that meeting. But what I expected and what I was told is that when you got here, we were going to do that. And that's what we're supposed to do. And so to be here feels like you failed me as a friend, as an ally, as a responsible person of this community, as a volunteer. You can't fail. We're not supposed to do that, Mr. Mayor. We're supposed to be tight, working together, all of us. And we may have personal differences, and then we do. We do. I have personal differences with people in this room, and they have some with me. But that should not stop us from doing the doggone business of this community. That is the worst kind of neglect. And if you want to talk about inefficiency, the inefficiency would be on us and the city to not use the expertise that we've gained to move forward. We need apartments. We need a daycare. We can't even we can't even demand, which is legally, we can have our tenants do community service. We don't even have a place for people to send their children while they can do that. We don't have a night daycare where our young ladies and young parents can go somewhere and get a job because they can't afford it. So those are big problems. Those are the big problems. And so to be here, yeah, I'm a little disappointed. But to be here though, to know that we still have an opportunity, guys, regardless of what happens right here, you can say stop. You can say this is over with. You can say let's have this meeting with everybody. Let's put the stuff on the table. Let's make a plan. Let's put a timeline to it, and we're done. And we're done, Mr. Mayor. And that's your responsibility to us. That's yours, Bruce.
Thank you.
This hearing concluded.
No, I have comments, final comments. I would just like to say that as the newly elected mayor, I have a responsibility to the citizens of Washington. I answer to 6 council members that I have senior council members, and then I have new council members that I have to answer to. It does me no favor, no justice to be here either. However, in doing this, I have to do what's legally right, and I have to do it what's the way that I'm guided by attorneys and by city administrator and by city council. I would applaud Ms. Booker and Mr. Jones for their service. I know it's a volunteer service. I know it's not fun. I know it's not easy. I know it's ridiculed. I know you get poked and prodded a lot, which I totally agree with you. It's no fun. However, due justice is due justice. I have to do what is required by me, by my position, and therefore by what dictates the law. And I will provide you a copy of the URA contract once I get it, because I never really got a final copy of it that I signed from the URA. The URA has problems too, and we're working on those as well. So this is not a trial, this is not a judgment, this is just a fact-based mission to see what's going on. And I appreciate both of you, Ms. Angela and Mr. Jones, for presenting your evidence. There's no political motivations behind this. There is just facts and what we need to do for our citizens of our Washington, Georgia. And I look forward to giving them the housing, the daycare opportunities, the business, everything that they need in the near future. As I said, this is not a final decision. This is just what where we're at right now. I will sit down and talk with council, and we will go from there. But I do appreciate your time and your service.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Is the hearing concluded?
Hearing concluded.
All right, we will object to the record being supplemented after the conclusion of this hearing, inasmuch as we've not had an opportunity to cross-examine any such contract. I do think you have an obligation under the law to provide it to Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones, do you
And
have-
I hope
do you
you
have a
will,
copy of it?
and I hope you will comply with the law.
Do you have a copy of it, Mr. Jones?
Based on my advice from council. I mean, seriously, you know what I mean?
This hearing is concluded.
It's concluded.
This hearing is concluded.
That's fine. Thank you.